Hello. Oh, I have both that we are being streaming live right now and that the meeting is being set up. So I don't actually know which is correct. But I do know that the captions are not on right now, and now they are. And it is important for the captions to be live so that our deaf and hard of hearing friends can enjoy this live too. So check my handy dandy device because as longtime watchers of this know this is how I watch for your comments because full transparency, I can't be bothered to learn a different app that would work better
Who
for
has
live
time for that,
streaming.
right? Who has time to learn a whole nother app at this point?
I definitely don't like, and I can imagine with your life, you really don't either. But yay! It is coming through. App that audio is working, and for any of you, yay! Love it when technology works. Hello and welcome to Group Tarot. I am so excited to be chatting with Jennifer this week about this month. Week. I do not have the spoons to do this every week. That no, not right now. And Jennifer and I met, it was Northwest Tarot Symposium last year or the year before.
No, because I actually got sick last year and had to bail. So it was the year before, which was 2023, I think. Yeah. So like almost a year and a half ago.
Nice, because
Yeah.
I remember you and Mary Greer
Mhm.
and the myself and the person that you were presenting with who works
Freddie
in,
Rochelle. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
like that breakfast we had together.
I know. It was fabulous.
I conventions are always great for the conversation and the classes and such, but that breakfast.
Yeah. And that's what it really is about, I feel like, because those connections you make go so far beyond just the time at the conference, which I love.
Yeah, yeah, completely. And this year, this conversation got sparked because Jennifer put a class together on the intersection of martial arts and tarot.
That's
And I was
right.
like, what? So how did that even spark in your brain? And this class was for this year's StarCon.
Yeah.
And if for those of y'all watching who are like, I have to have this class, you actually can because Afterglow tickets are still available,
That's
and then
right.
you can watch all of the recorded classes. How did this marriage of ideas come up, Jennifer? Because I flippin' loved it.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I just wish
So
I was there to
for
like.
me, number one, I everything links back to tarot in my brain. Everything. You feel me, right? So that's pretty much how my mind operates, period. But I'm also a martial arts instructor, and I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, well, second degree black belt in Taekwondo, and I've been doing martial arts for about a decade, and I've been an instructor as far as an official instructor for about 2.5 years, and I swear, just one day we were in class, and I have all ages in my classes, but I definitely have a lot of kids. And one of the things we do when we're learning even just basic punches is we have the old school X-ray shields. Well, we call them X-ray shields. They're the like acetate kind of material. Now that's all digital, but those things they used to print your X-ray on and put in the light box in the old days for X-rays. And we have a whole bunch of those because they're great for holding with a partner, and you punch them and they're almost indestructible. So ours are like, we've been using them for since I've been there. They have not changed for over 10 years. And they can take a beating and they will not break, they will not rip because whatever that material, I don't know if acetate's the right word, but whatever they are, they do not come apart.
Love
And
it.
so you have a partner hold, and then another partner punches. And because of the material, when they punch and you get a whole classroom punching, it sounds like thunder. It fills the room with this like thunder noise. And so I just had this day where I'm like, yeah, because I love how the energy picks up when they use them. And I was listening, I'm like, it feels like we're drawing down the thunder. And then my head went to the tower, and I'm like, oh, but then there's power in the tower because if you draw the thunder down yourself and you draw the lightning down yourself, and there's that energy of the good in the tower, the power in the so it got my brain literally like lit up. And that was
That,
essentially what sparked the whole idea.
oh my gosh. That was the one piece of attending your class virtually that I was like, oh, I want to be
Yeah,
there.
you want to
Like
like I want to hit it. I want
I
to
want
hit
I want to hit it. I want to hear that sound. I
it.
want to feel it on my
Right.
skin. Like, yes, please.
It's very visceral. It's a very visceral effect, kind of both the noise and the way it feels and the crunches and it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the crackliness to
Hmm.
it, because like in the theater world, we have thunder sheets, and there are these big things of metal that I would not want to punch
Right.
practice like
Right.
that. That from my minimal amount of boxing background, like that just sounds painful.
Yeah,
Uh,
that does sound a little painful metal.
uh, but the I love being near those thunder sheets, both to like feel the whoosh of the air and the
Right.
vibrations, and like it really does get this whole body alive.
Yes.
And watching it on the screen, and like what I could hear and what I would imagine like feeling and holding those, like
Right.
reverberating into the arms and torso and down is just like, oh,
Yes.
I want to do this.
Well, you gotta wonder too if like I'm not licensed in any type of sound healing, but I love going to sound healing events. And
Yeah.
it makes me
Like,
wonder, I've never seen anybody specifically use something like the metal thunder sheets that you use in theater or those, but you gotta wonder like if that's just another frequency or another sound that kind of like does something for us that brings up something us in us and kind of has that sound energetic healing almost to it, you know?
yeah, because even most of the sound healing, I also am not licensed in such things. I just have a lot of um, voice training,
Uh-huh.
and vocal and body lots of different body work um, experience. The there it's like there are tones and pitches there, but it's not quite like there are notes
Right,
necessarily,
right.
but there there are absolutely vibrations.
Vibrations, yeah, vibrations, yeah.
And like all of that helps loosen stuff up. Like,
Huh?
yeah, that's a that that's a juicy question.
Well, and also with the thunder and the noise, and it also because again that's where my head went straight was to the tower card, and there's the lightning symbol in the tower card, and there's also lightning is at its foundation electricity,
Yep.
and we have electricity running through our bodies. It's in our brain for the electrical impulses to make us go, but it also we have electrical impulses that go to our muscles when we're firing our muscles. So to be able to do a punch, it takes a little bit of electrical impulse. So it kind of all kind of like came together in my head in that little moment of like the lightning, the thunder, and the power there. And I've really been on this path for a good year of like finding the especially the heavier cards, because Tower obviously is not usually a real welcome sight in most readings. But the power that can lie in that card and how can you harness that power and actually use the power in that card, that energy in that card for something transformative, rather than just feel like, oh God, not the freaking tower again. Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that has been coming up for me in readings now for about the first I remember very distinctly the first time it came up as a like, oh, this is a different aspect of the tower, but it is absolutely right for the card and for
Yeah.
this reading, um, intentional demolition.
Ooh, what?
And
That gave me chills. I love that as a phrase, intentional demolition.
it
Yes.
the first time it came up, oh, thank you so much. Um, my sweetie just opened the door and brought me a coffee.
Oh, you got
Yeah.
good service there. I like it.
um, uh, it was the last time the Portland Erotic Ball happened, and I was the VIP reader. And so it was pre-pandemic,
Oh,
so
yeah.
probably 2019,
Yeah.
give or take. And not gonna talk about any of the reading, even if I could remember it, because confidentiality.
Sure.
But the lesson that I learned in that reading was that bit for the tower of intentional demolition. And
Yeah.
especially as we have all of what we have lived through from
Yeah.
2020 to now, that piece of intentional demolition has, like,
Right.
comes up a lot. And
Love that.
interest
I love that phrase so much, Kate. I love it.
Thank you. I'm glad that resonates for you too. And then I don't have this deck on me. It's downstairs in my stash, but someone else got that message from the ether, because in Ashane Dubarry's Sacred Sisterhood tarot, the tower has, talk about merging your love here too,
Yeah.
as an individual doing one of those, like, high kick things
Oh,
on
yeah.
the
Yeah.
tower, and the
Yeah.
lightning is coming down, and then her foot and energy is coming out of her foot, taking it down.
I love that. I love that. Oh, yeah. I definitely. What was the name of the deck again?
Sacred Sisterhood
Thank
Tarot by Ashane Dubarry.
I'm making a note real quick. You can please feel free to keep talking. I have to write that down.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic deck. And
Yeah.
Ashani, if I am mispronouncing your name, I deeply apologize. I have only seen it written. Please correct me. I Names are important. And for the folk who are watching the chat live, if you have questions for myself or for Jennifer Cooper Steidley, please type them in the chat. I am keeping eyeballs on it. Um, so the tower and all of that marvelous thunder in your martial arts class was the first inspiration. But then, like, where did every how did the rest come? Because in your class you had some really interesting tie-ins of martial arts to the cards that I definitely would not have thought of. So, like, were you just sitting down to plan the class and flipping through the deck? Like, how did that go about for you?
So once I had that initial, little spark of inspiration where my brain kind of lit up, I because I'm pretty much there. I live, that's my second home is this martial arts studio. So I live there, like I'm there at least 4 days a week. And so it started becoming pretty natural for during a class for me to notice something else that would kind of spark a little, oh, and that's like this. Probably the next one that came is we were doing a self-defense unit. We're doing a what we call a bear hug escape. So if somebody kind of grabs you around and so that your arms are trapped. And of course, that made me think of the Eight of Swords, very much that, where she's bound with her arms kind of bound to her sides. And there's some of the moves that we teach with self-defense are so simple. They're really just very simple moves to get out of a hold and get away.
Do you
And
want to do you want to talk the watchers
yeah,
through?
like as far as like, yeah, like so
Sure.
for the bear hug, so if you had your arms like this, like kind of pinned at your side because somebody has grabbed you from behind, the first thing you're gonna do is just literally pop your arms and legs out like this until it kind of pops up and kind of breaks that hold. And then ideally, because their arms would come up, you're gonna grab a wrist and then kind of wheel under them and start elbowing the ribs, maybe a little, hit to the face, and do whatever you have to do to now just get out of there. Because number one rule of self-defense, at least in our school, is it doesn't matter if you're a black belt, doesn't matter where you're at in your journey. It doesn't matter if you're tough. You don't stick around to just fight. You only fight to the point you need to get the hell away. So breaking the hold, getting a little elbow into the face, so maybe they're a little bit stunned and you can get the hell out of there. But I love it for the Eight of Swords, because my feeling on the Eight of Swords, and I know a lot of people, readers, feel this way, is, especially when you look at the OG Rider-Waite Smith art by Pamela Coleman Smith, she is not that trapped. I mean, that binding is really loose. There's the opening between the swords. It's kind of like, girl, are you really trapped, or do you just need to get yourself out of the situation? And one of the things I love about learning martial arts and teaching self-defense and teaching all this stuff is the empowerment that comes with knowledge of how to defend yourself, how to get out of a stuck situation. And that's obviously translates to the physical world when I teach martial arts, but it's such a spiritual concept too. How to get out with ourselves out when we're stuck or feeling stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. For the 8, 9, and 10 of swords, whenever they come up in readings, I almost always will bring up something I learned years ago in my yoga training from one of my first real teachers, Gabriel Halpern. Change your thoughts, change your words, change your words, change your actions. Change your actions, change the world, but it all begins with your thoughts.
Yes.
And because we're talking about swords, we're talking about air, we're talking about thought and thought patterns, which are, of course, insidiously tricky to
Yeah.
change. Like, our programming runs deep,
Right. Right.
and remembering that changing your thought pattern, changing the I am a victim, I am strong, like whatever those things are for you,
Right.
have these ripple effects that we don't even necessarily, you know how they're going to affect us long term.
Right.
And yet we can so fully, in the same way that, like, all of the we started off talking with all of those uh thunderous sounds, like those
Uh-huh.
like they
They
fill the
ripple
room,
out. Yeah.
as you said, the energy in your room changes when those come out, like.
Well, and I love what you're saying about the way changing your thoughts have profound effects that we may not even realize. It's like, it's literally like a butterfly effect. And there's a reason that butterflies show up in the traditional tarot as a symbol.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the way butterflies move in our thoughts, they flit around. They're hard to capture. They're kind of just flitting around. And it's the same thing with the way our thoughts kind of come in. I mean, I've learned over the years for myself. I'm still learning, I'm still working on it, but it's almost like you have to literally have that little butterfly net ready in your brain, because it'll be a whisper. It'll be a little bit of a little flitting thought that's like, you're not good enough. You're not, it's like a little, and they're quiet and they're pesky because you're like, wait, what, and you have to literally be very on guard to be able to kind of catch that butterfly and maybe be like, okay, let's just, we're going to set you free, but we need to change this. Okay, now go be free with something better.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But that the same idea of a butterfly effect, the ripples of it changing a single thought, if you can catch it in the moment and
Mhm.
change a single thought that's not working and not serving you, it's huge. It's powerful. And being able to change, I'm not stuck, or I'm stuck to I'm empowered to do whatever I need to do to get it to shift.
Mhm. I have options.
Yes, I have options. Yes.
I I have options. I can take a step forward. I can take a step back.
Mhm.
I can pick up that sword.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Love that.
one of the things that started. I am not much of a gardener or a green thumb person, sadly, but I do love the philosophy of permaculture. And
Mhm.
so one of the pieces from that world is, if you get sick or poisoned by something out in the wild, its antidote is also somewhere nearby.
Yes,
Because
yes.
all of those different parts of the ecosystem live together in the same sort of way that our carbon dioxide feeds the plants and their oxygen feeds us, sort of thing. And so
Right.
when I started thinking about the cards in that same way of, and especially going back to those like some of the scary cards and the like, oh, I don't want to deal with the tower. I don't want to deal with the devil. I don't want to deal with the Eight of Swords. One, how much, like, what does that actually say about us that we already know, like, what it is that we should be working on if that
Yes.
card comes up to be like, girl, you know what you're not doing.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like when a friend's trying to give you actual helpful, direct, like blunt advice, and you're like, yeah, I know, I know. Like you're like, I know, I know. Like you almost just like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I get it. I get
yeah.
it.
I get it.
Just dragging my heels. Can't I procrastinate a little longer?
I'm still obsessed with intentional demolition though. I'm like literally I had to write that down too. So thank you for that because
Mm,
if you think about the thought of like people who are versed in tarot, like why maybe sometimes you don't wait for the calamity to happen to you. Maybe you need to be coming in with your own little wrecking ball and be like, this situation needs to be demolished. I love the intentionality there. I love that because sometimes we need to be the one in the driver's seat and say, it's time. It's time to just level it and start fresh with whatever the situation is. It's not working.
mhm.
And but that's hard because it's hard for us to want to go to something. We know it's going to be painful. We know it's going to be hard, but the waiting for the calamity to happen to you can be a lot harder.
Yeah, yeah. And the and with the tower, I've always found it interesting that in Pamela Coleman Smith's original artwork, at the bottom layers, we don't see any doors. So
Oh,
there is
yeah.
this like I've always had this interesting question of like, where's the door? Do you have to like rappel up? And especially looking at the tower as a representation of systems of power,
Yes.
thinking about all of the people that have been excluded systemically over the years,
Right.
and how hard we have had to work to even like find our way inside to see those like inner workings there.
Right.
Do you make a door for yourself to get in and change things, or for people that just got stuck in there to get out? Do you like not necessarily trash the whole thing and have everything come crumbling down and kill everybody that's inside, but like,
Right.
yeah, yeah, intentional demolition.
I love it.
Fucking love it. And it's the card that came up when I have a garage, and during the pandemic we found out that one whole wall had been devastated by termites. At some point there was nothing there, like we did all of the good things, but we literally brought in a friend of ours who's a contractor to prop up the wall so that we could just take down that one whole wall and
Yeah.
put up a brand new one
Right.
and clear out the blackberries behind it that was also damaging the foundation. And
Right.
um, yes, from the chat, going back to the butterfly talk reminds LMRS of the song "Here Comes a Thought" from Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
I don't
love
know
it.
that song, but I love that it came up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, intentional demolition. So, so you are also a deck creator.
Yes.
This is one of your decks. Now
Mhm.
that you have played with your martial arts pairings at StarCon and in your own brain, Might there be a martial arts Tara,
You
in
know,
the
I've
future?
thought about it. I have a couple other ideas that feel like they're shoving their way because for me, my little deck baby ideas are have their own little personalities because I will have like an idea. I try to follow the thread of what lights me up, but I'll have an idea. I'll get really excited. But like with Terra Disassemble, that's been a couple years now. And I had like two other big ideas that I was really starting to work on. And it was like that one popped in. It was very much had that energy of no, 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 they can wait. I need to go first. And so I have for a while had some ideas around something. I don't know if it's martial arts or more, I keep thinking almost of a tarot of the physical, which, in some ways, which is a little bit larger concepts of like how which obviously that gets tricky because the Pinnacles is already a physical suit. We already have a suit that represents the physical, but maybe taking it to other levels of like talking about something like the tower and how does that apply to our body, the electricity in our body. So I have some loose ideas. I don't know. We'll see. But the main thing that came out of StarCon for me was one of the things at the end was we did a board break.
Yes.
And it was literally something that even though I had put the notes together and all that, I and had all these ideas for this topic, I had not thought about this till literally when I was presenting. I do sigil work also. And like where for me mainly where I make create sigils, for kind of the magic and the energy. And with sigil work, it's I don't know if you've done much sigil work, but it's very much like you have to destroy the sigil to activate it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
And
I
and destroy the
really
word. Like
yes, yes.
break
And so
everything down into its each and every word, each and every
yes.
letter component.
Yes, exactly. The way you create a sigil is really breaking down things in the letter forms. And then the way you activate the sigil, you either from some earthly element or something like that, water or fire, whatever. So it occurred to me literally as we were doing the board breaks that how cool would it be to put a sigil on a board and then after you create it and then break that board with a martial arts board break. So I
Oh
actually have a
yes.
class that I'm doing next weekend because this came again from a spark from StarCon. Thank you, StarCon and
Thank
Christian.
you, Starcon and Christiana.
um, that I am going to do. It's basically a board breaking sigil workshop. So we're going to start by pulling some cards, seeing where our energy is at, thinking about what we want to manifest, what our intentions in the moment are for our goals. Then we're going to learn how to create a sigil, make up our own sigil. So it'll be a little arts and craftsy.
Mhm.
And then we're going to decorate our boards. And at the end of the class, they're all going to do a board break. And which is
Uh,
one of those things that because obviously as a martial arts instructor, I wouldn't start just assuming people in 2 hours could start doing karate. But a basic board break with what's called a hammer fist is a very safe, easy break to teach to almost anybody. We do it with little kids even, It doesn't mean it's easy, it just means you can teach it safely. So it's a martial arts concept, but it's something I can teach pretty relatively safely so that they can successfully break that board and have that empowerment. So that's like an offshoot of that, but I'm really excited to just try it because I have never tried that class either. I'll see how it goes, but
I love that so much. And I love that most because in in lots of other magical practice that I've done for things that you want to get out or purge, writing things down and burning it, doing intentional cleaning, like putting that energy into something and casting it into a moving body of water,
yes,
all of those sorts of things. Take whatever that gunk is out of your body, but then cast it out of your control. And while there is something
surrender, yeah.
absolutely beautiful in putting the trust in the universe and the elements and the power of transformation, how marvelous to put that into something that your participants have control over.
Yes,
That it's
yes,
like, no, I can change this.
yes.
I can break this pattern. I can transform this. Oh, yes, Where? So if people want to take this class with you, tell us more, when, where, how to sign up.
Yes. So this is in the Denver area. So anybody kind of in that general area, it's going to be this coming Saturday. Yes, Sunday. Coming Sunday, March 16th. Yes, March. Just trying to remember the date. March 16th, next Sunday. Little under a week. And basically, it's if you look up Eventbrite's where I'm selling the tickets for it. It's called Breaking Through. And so it's you could probably search and find that on Eventbrite. And it's going to be about 2 hour workshop. It'll be at the karate studio. So we'll have a nice safe place to try to do this in. And I'm excited just because it's like a little bit woo woo, a little bit arts and crafts, a little bit, pull a couple cards to kind of, ground ourselves, and then a little bit of physical movement. So I'm just excited. I'm excited to see how it goes. And if people tend to like it, I might try to run it a few more times. So I'll try to do some other sessions too.
I love that. And what's the name of the martial arts studio that your workshop Breaking Through is going to be at?
That is at my school called Exclusive Martial Arts. It's like the best one in Colorado. I'm being all like, it's the best school in Colorado. I actually love all the schools. I'm laughing. I'm like, of course I'm biased, but yeah, that's my happy place.
Nice. I wish I was a little closer. But even if I was a little closer, well, if I was a little closer, I would not be working in Hamilton right now because Hamilton is in Portland, and then I would be available to go to your
Right.
workshop. But maybe you will bring it one of the places that I am. I know. Queen, does that not sound like the most amazing workshop? So we have a sounds like an awesome workshop from Queen Osset Haru. Good to see you. If you have not checked out her YouTube channel, Ask an Aquarius, it is also
That's good.
delightful. So thanks for joining, Queen. And you also have a YouTube channel, don't you, Jennifer?
I do. It's very not populated. I haven't put a lot of energy into it. I do. It's just Jennifer, I think it's my full name, Jennifer Cooper Steidley is the handle right now. The main thing I've been doing, because I haven't ever done much over there, but I've only recently, since I've been doing these tarot symbol chats,
Mhm.
I've been where I kind of talk about just a symbol with somebody and we have a little chat about tarot symbols. So that's kind of more recent this year. So I do them on Instagram, but I've been trying to chop them up horizontal and put them on the YouTube just so they live somewhere else in case people are interested.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, awesome. Well, what shall we talk? What shall we talk about next?
I would love to hear some of your intersections with theater. If you're up, if you feel like sharing.
Yeah.
I have seen that you're kind of working, I believe, on a theater. Is it a tarot or oracle deck that you're working on? Do
So
you
it's
mind me asking about that? Is that okay? I'm sorry.
No, it's totally okay. I figured it would come up in some part in our cross pollinations of our different passions. Weaving. Oh, that's also some. I will answer your question, and
Sure.
I'm putting a pin in wanting to come back to uh the body, your body idea, tarot,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that sort of stuff also really juices me. I love
Mhm.
with all of my yoga and Feldenkrais background. Yes. So the deck that I am currently working on is the Theater Oracle,
Okay.
and I chose an Oracle deck this time, even though I also have a spreadsheet for uh for doing something similar as a tarot deck
Right.
because it's honestly it's easier.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, anytime you're stuck with the, not stuck, it's a beautiful system, but the structure is so rigid and specific with tarot.
yeah,
If you do an oracle deck, there's a little bit more fluidity, flexibility of maybe what concepts need to be in there.
exactly. And so this is not what the deck will actually look like, but I wanted to create a little like proof of concept that
Oh,
it
yeah.
would work and make sense, and
Ooh.
that folk were like, okay, I get some ideas.
Oh, these images
Uh,
are intriguing. Ooh.
so
Yeah.
the idea behind it was twofold. One, I'm a union stagehand,
Uh-huh.
and the backstage work with performances. What did
Uh-huh.
you want to show? Oh, interesting. The card that tried to sneak away was research.
Oh, interesting. Wonder what
Oh,
that means.
I know, right? Like
Did
what?
you, are these all shots you took on like at the theaters you work at?
Yep. So
Those are
all of
beautiful.
these photographs were done by my union sister Dana West.
Nice.
And at some of the theaters I work, one of the theater we both work at and love and adore.
Yeah.
And we want to, I had the idea because I'm like, I want a deck that there are so many niche decks. Like,
Yeah.
we don't have one for
Right.
backstage theater arts.
Right.
And most people forget about us anyway.
Right. Because it's like
Because
the
when
part
we
that's
do
not
our
seen.
job well,
Yeah.
like, you're not going to see us. And
Right.
we do a lot of work.
I imagine. I know the amount of work just to put on amazing productions like that.
We do so much work. So yeah, it I I would the going from this printed locally
Yeah.
at my local print shop to all of the nice things.
The bells and whistles. Yeah.
Yeah, that this I'm having trouble with this jump.
Well, girl, you can reach out to me if you want.
I
If
will. When the
like as
book is
far as just the details, like the little printing details, I'm always happy to nerd out about that stuff and help.
I will 100% take you up on that. I want to finish the book for the Theater Oracle
Sure.
first and then move on to the bells and whistles. Um, but yeah, so I had the idea and was like, I don't know if this is a good idea or not. And so I just sat down at my computer and started typing out ideas for cards and things. And in a half hour, I had uh, almost 200. And I was like, oh,
I feel like that's when you know if this is a thread you have to follow because it lit your brain up and then you instantly had that many like in that short of time it was all pouring out of you.
yeah,
Meant to be for sure.
yeah,
I'm this may be exactly I have to say when you said backstage and I started looking at the images, which are beautiful, there's something so ethereal about those backstage images. And all I could think instantly was like, well, in the theater world, is the backstage almost like the spirit? Because it's the part you don't see. Like within us, well, obviously the physical is maybe what's happening on the stage that the audience gets to experience, but we don't always see or is cognizant of the spirit because it's a little bit more hidden, a little bit more less visible. I, I don't know. I am not trying anyway, trying to hijack your deck and be like, but I was just curious if some of that was because that's what it made me think of like backstage is like the spirit world of the theater. But I could be, I mean, I'm not trying, I don't know. I'm not trying to insinuate. I'm just throwing it out there.
I love that. I love that. I have not thought of it like that before because it is so part of like just my literal day-to-day bread and butter life. But
Right, right.
yeah, I think you're right.
Well, for you, it's obviously physical and tangible because it's that, like you said, that you guys are working your butts off backstage. You're doing all these things. It's very real and tangible and physical. But to the rest of the world that are just the audience world that love theater and taking in theater, they're not seeing half of what goes on behind the scenes. They're not seeing what's behind the veil, so to speak, the curtain, the veil.
So much more than half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Thank you. Oh,
Well,
uh,
I'm excited because it looks, I mean, I'm not even, obviously, I don't have any experience in theaters, but I have mad props for it, respect. But I'm intrigued and I would want that deck for myself because those images are there's stories, there's these different textures, there's different things happen with the black and white, especially. I mean, I would definitely be here for wanting a deck for me without having any versedness in this theater. So
yes.
I feel like it's one of those things that will easily reach beyond just theater people. You know
That's
what I mean?
that's my hope.
Yeah.
My and yeah, that's my hope that it will both be a niche deck for theater people about theater
Sure.
people, and that it will have a lot of universality of like,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes we all need to just make sure everything is in alignment and doesn't get tangled and is well lit. And sometimes we all need to make sure we can be heard all the way at the back row of a 3,000 seat house.
Mhm.
And oh, LMRS, I'm so glad that you love that aspect of the theater too. Um, Theater Oracle does have an Instagram account
Oh,
that I
yeah.
am slowly populating, and whenever the backer kit goes live and such, it'll all be up there.
I'll definitely
Uh,
go follow that. I didn't realize you have one for that one too. That's awesome.
yeah. So
That's awesome.
yeah, she's into baby. She's not in the baby place anymore because she's grown. She's probably in the like 8, 9 year old age.
Yeah.
Not not quite ready for 21 and off on your own.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Closer.
Getting close. Yeah.
Getting
Love
close.
that.
So the body and
Yeah.
the one of the classes that I teach is open channel, and it really gets folks into the spine. Ooh, but before we go there, yes, reminds LMRS of the Aztec seed skeletons, trying to find link to the images and explanation of what you mean. Fantastic. Yes, please do. Please do. I look forward to seeing them. Um, I personally see the spine as our own personal rod, the wand that we always have within our bodies. It has all of the sparks that share all of those electrical impulses, and
Yes.
so as you are dreaming into your body tarot deck, are you thinking, d does it feel more like it's going to be in a like the tarot of neuroscience that
Oh, Siddharth.
Siddharth
Yeah.
has done, or is it going to be more like blood, lymph, gallbladder sort of thing based? Like how, like,
I honestly don't know if I have gotten far enough to say. Because that one's still just more like I've had some like thoughts kind of pass like butterflies through my through my mind. Um, I think I'm just, and I that's where I'm curious if it wants to be a deck or if I just want to keep teaching workshops and classes connecting some of that because I'm really intrigued by where because when you think about the tarot, we especially people who read tarot, um, we're all obviously spiritual creatures, but people who read tarot tend to be pretty connected to the divine. They're a pretty good open channel. Their crown chakra is pretty wide open, generally speaking. Because that's kind of the realm they as people who read a lot, that's the realm they're kind of most juicy and they're living in that realm. And I think there's something to be said of like it's easier for the people who are very in that realm to forget their connection to their body a little bit. Um, and so I'm very intrigued with when you take the tarot and you start going card, and even just taking the original Pamela Coleman Smith artwork and just going card by card, and what are some of the lessons and insights that aren't so much the spiritual lessons that we all kind of play in and dabble in regularly? What are like even looking at like how we stand in our power, how we stand in our authority, how we are prepared to defend ourselves, which is a both spiritual defense as well as a physical defense. Like all those concepts. So it's more about concepts that are looser, as far as where I'm finding those tie-ins, and I'm not sure, that's why I'm not sure if it wants to be a deck or if it wants to just be, I just keep wanting to like talk about it. I just
As
want to talk about it and play with it. Does that make
yes.
sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense. And I will talk about this with you till the cows come home because I have a whole series of videos of embodying the tarot because
Uh-huh.
they're um, moving through the majors and moving through the minors because not everybody wants to learn through reading. Like
Right, right.
some people want to learn through physical experience uh and I love imagining take I love take even before I learned Mary K. Greer's story of anyone who gets the Ten of Swords, she invites them to lie down and look to the side to watch and imagine what it will feel like watching a sunrise from lying down there.
Oh my God, that just gave me chills.
Like even before I learned that Mary did that, and I was like, what?
Yeah, leave it to Mary. God, she is amazing, that woman, that the way that she has, oh my gosh, her insights.
Love her so much. Um,
Yeah.
taking the shape and seeing what that brings up
Yeah.
in in your own body, like
Yeah.
whether it's the Seven of Swords and holding things over your shoulder and looking over.
Yes.
One that comes up for me a lot is the Ten of Wands because how I love you, Pixie. You know I do. Thank you. Um, but how the Ten of Swords is illustrated is a horrible way to try and carry a lot of bundles. Like it's it if you're doing it that way, of course things are going to fall out. Of
Right.
of course you're going to be pulled off your center. Like
Yeah.
all of the weight is out in front of you being
Yeah.
put and your little tiny like hoist that stuff over your shoulder, like fuel
Yes.
it up, like if you have to do all of the work that is in the Ten of Wands,
Yeah.
if you are not willing or not able to put stuff down, delegate, what have you, redistribute that so that you can
Yes.
actually like carry it well and in alignment.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes. I'm thinking about like a chiropractor looking at that image and being like, no, this is not good for the back. Right.
You know, and so I I love hearing I love hearing and learning about more people that are really thinking about the body
Yeah.
experience with tarot because I agree with you. There are, especially professional readers, like we're at tables or sometimes on the phone and hidden, but we're at tables, we're on Zoom calls, and we're pretty stationary. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so like having that physicality
Huh?
of things and shape and gesture
Right.
is interesting.
Do you do because I know you mentioned a lot of your yoga practice. Do you focus on Kundalini at all? Or I was just
There
curious, since you mentioned the spine being a very kind of like a power, like what you were.
it is not something that I have any real training in.
Sure.
I know about it philosophically, and I've taken like one Kundalini class, but the
Sure.
most of that energy awareness comes from magical practice. And I
Yeah.
would love that at some point maybe Kundalini will be added into my personal practice, but not now. And Queen uh Queen tosses in for that 10 of Wands. Purchase a wheelbarrow. Yes. Use your
Yeah.
if you are working that hard, you have some sort of money coming in. Purchase a wheelbarrow. Get some better tools. Work smarter, not harder. Get it
Yes, there's so
clean.
many good lessons in the physical of that card, but yes, and this is lighting my brain up too because I'm like, I wonder all the lessons go deeper that are in just the physical of those cards. Oh my gosh, this is lighting my brain up too.
Maybe, well,
Yes.
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, the
Maybe,
physical
maybe,
lessons that are
maybe,
hiding in those cards. Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
what are the physical lessons that are hiding in the cards?
Yeah. Well, like the tower, another one with and I don't mean to keep harping on the tower.
Hey,
Is
bring it.
another one that when because they're the little people they're falling off, one of the things that we learn literally in the first belt of karate is how to take a fall.
Yep.
How do you
First thing you learn in
correctly
stage
fall?
combat too. Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yep.
imagine because of any kind of dramatic action scene in theater, they have to also know how to protect themselves when they fall and
Hmm.
still hit the ground. So those are such fundamental concepts, but again, not everybody necessarily has that if that's not something they've been trained in or think about.
Yeah.
Protect your noggin first and foremost, keep the chin tucked, and like all those little things to make sure.
Don't land on your hands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Don't
my.
cut yourself in your hands unless you want to break a wrist. And you think
Yep.
about taking that to the next level of protecting your noggin is also protecting your crown chakra, protecting your connection to the divine. So how do you take a spiritual or metaphysical fall in life? Because we all are going to have times that are going to set us back. We're going to get knocked on our butts. And metaphysically, spiritually, it doesn't always have to be physically. Sometimes we actually literally fall on our butts. But like, how do you take a fall on all those conceptual levels? So.
Yes. Yes. I hadn't thought about the tower as also a reminder of how to take a fall.
I mean, obviously that's a heck of a fall, if we're being
It is
honest.
that, yeah,
But
totally. But stunt people do that sort of shit all the time. Like,
right, right,
and
right.
like thinking about the tower as a literal and metaphorical set, because of course Pamela Coleman Smith was also a scenic painter,
Yeah.
and you could totally hide some fantastic crash pads behind those crags.
Yes, 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 yes. I love that.
I
I
had
love it.
that is something that I had that this is my first time ever thinking about that, and I love it.
Well, and also, I'm a symbol nerd. I don't, again,
Yes.
this might just end up being a whole tower conversation. I'm just kidding. Okay. We'll just change the title to it's about the tower. I'm just kidding.
We can come back again because we're in the last 7 minutes of our chat.
Yes, yeah.
We can have another one where we just like
We
nerd
might
out
have
an
to,
hour.
yeah. Uh, but I'm a symbol nerd, and so that lightning strike, the lightning bolt that's shown in the tower and the way Pixie illustrated it is you probably are aware of this, but I didn't know this until I got deep into research, but it's a very specific pattern. It's not just the zigzag we draw like little kids or something. It's a very set, if you look at it, it actually kind of has a weird, wonky, straight down part at the end. It's because it's tracing a very distinct path down the tree of life in Kabbalah. And there's obviously that concept that is I mean, see, I'm getting chills. Every time I get chills, I know this is a good conversation. Again, physical, right? Physical. I'm getting the chills on like the chills make me tell me this is all good, tingly stuff. But it's, anytime that you see that anything, a nod to that, it's talking about that where we're always a little bit either on an ascent up the tree of life towards the divine or a descent down the tree of life towards our human primal self. And they're neither path is wrong or bad. It's kind of like, where are you at right now? In the tower, you're definitely descending. There's people are falling, and you have the lightning strike showing that downward descent, but it's not necessarily a negative. It's taking us back into our bodies, back into the earthly realm, which can be a very, very good thing.
Back into a place where we can then rebuild what it is that we actually want, what it is that is actually healthy and
Yes.
healthful and beautiful and sustainable for all peoples. Mm.
Yes, which is goodness knows right now we're all gonna have to have some fight in us,
Yeah,
physical and or spiritual or both in
yeah,
the coming years, right?
yep, and we might need to get out of those those bear hug holds.
Yep. Yep. And know where we might have more power than we realize. Because right now I know a lot of people feel like they're pretty powerless and my heart hurts for most of us right now.
Yeah,
At least in this country, it's getting pretty
yeah,
crazy.
and consequently, I love that your say the name of your workshop next week again, please.
It's called breaking through.
Breaking through.
Mhm.
That your breaking through workshop is happening when it is, because it is such a literal, visceral reminder for folks that yes, you have power. Look at what you are able to
Yes.
make. Look at what you are able to break.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So make sure that you check out, for those of y'all in the Denver area or those of you who are able to get to the Denver area, look for tickets on Eventbrite.
Thank you.
And I will be back here next month on April 10th at 11 a.m. Pacific, chatting Radical Tarot with Charlie
Mhm.
Burgess.
Oh, exciting.
Oh, I I meant to have a copy of their book with me to hold up. I have so many little purple notes because there are some things that they write that I am in such agreement with, and there are some things that they write that I'm like, I have questions.
Yeah, that sounds like
And
a juicy conversation.
I'm very excited for it.
Wow,
Uh,
I'm gonna try and tune into that.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. And if people want to follow you, if they want to purchase any of your decks, I will do a very rapid fire flip through as you with
Sure.
tarot disassembled while you are telling the good people all of the places you want them to follow you.
Sure. Well, I finally have a website which I've been working on for
Yay!
years because it's hard for me to do work for myself. That's not just my ideas.
Oh, I hear that.
I have a website. It's just jennifersteidley.com. That's probably the easiest way to find all the places and all the things and shop. But I also am on the socials, Instagram, Jennifer Steidley handle, Facebook, Jennifer Steidley, which I think has a longer name because it's Facebook. It says like Jennifer Steidley, comma, creator and author. Um, so, and then I'm on the YouTube and all that. So I'm on most of the socials in that name. I recently quote unquote rebranded because I was Ferocious Ink for a long time, which was kind of my company name. But now that I have a book and deck coming out with Wiser, and so I feel like people might know me more by my name eventually. So I'm just am who I am at this point.
Love it.
I didn't have the good foresight to do a pseudonym, which I kind of wish I had. Not because just because I didn't know better, I guess. But so I just am who I am, and you can look me up, and I'm in all the places.
And that is I am who I am is a lovely place to end it because that's also a lovely song quote from La Cage aux Folles
Oh, I
to
love
tie things
that.
right back
Yay.
to tie with a little bow your love of martial arts and
Yes.
tarot and my love of theater and
Beautiful
tarot.
synchronicity. Beautiful synchronicity.
Indeed. See you all next month. And Jennifer, thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you for having me. This is fabulous, Kate. Thank you.
Have a beautiful rest of your day.